You're listening to the Podcast Detroit Network. Visit www.podcastdetroit.com for more information.
I said, hey, hey, welcome to the Man Cave Happy Hour. I said, hey, hey, welcome to the Man Cave Happy Hour. We're gonna drink a fine whiskey and smoke a really fine cigar.
It is time for happy hour. It is the Man Cave Happy Hour, whiskey, cigar, spirits, the stories that go along with it. I'm Jamie Flanagan.
I am Matt Fox.
And we are in the Man Cave. I'm my Man Cave.
Yeah, we're back in your Man Cave.
I like my little Man Cave.
Yeah, it's really cozy down
My
here.
Man Cave makes me happy.
It's cozy. It's warm. The cat's here.
Special day. So we're doing a special Man Cave on a special day.
This goes back years and years.
It's a bib day.
Bib day.
We wear our bibs because we drool on ourselves.
Well, after a few whiskey. Yeah, sure, why not?
So, no, it is people listen whenever, wherever, however.
Right.
But it is March the 3rd.
Yes.
Which is Bottled and Bond Day.
Bottled and Bond Day has a very special meaning because it goes way back into
Sherman,
history.
set the Wayback Machine.
Honestly, it goes all the way back, almost, just a few years after the Civil War, almost.
Sure. Yeah,
it goes
it's
way back.
Bottled and Bond Act of 18. Oh, where is it? Oh, 1897.
Yeah,
Yep.
no,
March 3, 1897.
Yeah, not too long after the Civil War.
Yep. So,
Ended,
yeah, we got, but the thing is, and we're to celebrate, right? We want to raise a glass.
Yes.
To the gentleman who was instrumental in getting the Bottled and Bond Act passed.
Yes.
Brought attention to the reason for the need for it.
Mm-hmm.
The U.S. government agreed and then passed
Really?
yeah, believe it or not. And then they passed the law back in 1897, and that was Colonel E.H. Taylor.
Yes.
So we're going to be trying. I didn't share. I've never shared this with you.
You have not yet. I'm very excited to actually dive into it.
I've had this.
You've had a lot of this.
I've had a lot of it since episode 11.
Wow.
So Sherman set the Wayback Machine. Episode 11, that was back in September of 2018.
Wow.
Yeah.
You've been nursing that bottle
and,
then.
yeah. So I save it for special friends and special occasions. It's actually autographed by Bo Beckman. Actually, Bo did it's kind of a little redundant.
Yeah.
It's a little anticlimactic for us to be doing this because freaking Bo Beckman did a very similar talk like this earlier today.
Did he really?
Because it's his freaking grandfather.
Well, then he has to. He's almost obligated.
I forget
to
if it's his grandfather or great grandfather. But it's I
would say great-grandfather, yeah.
I think it's grandfather because he knew him.
Oh, okay.
How
old is Bo?
He's young. Maybe he didn't know him. 1897. I don't know. Maybe it's probably great grandfather.
Yeah, I would imagine great grandfather.
Well, so he just knows the stories.
Okay.
Through
his own grandfather.
Well, my grandfather was born, but Bo's young. Bo's like in his 30s, I think.
Oh, wow.
He's a young cat.
All right.
So, yeah. But he was talking about the stories he knew from home, and then the story when he started working for the distillery, the stories learned at the distilleries about Colonel Taylor. And you looked up some stuff. You got some information about Colonel Taylor.
I have a little bit of information about Colonel Taylor.
Tell me about the Colonel. Oh, you'll eat my chicken. Oh, no, not that Colonel.
Not that Colonel.
Wrong Colonel.
No. So Colonel E.H. Taylor, E.H. Taylor Jr. I got to make sure we do that right.
Okay.
Colonel Edmund Haynes Taylor Jr. at that, was actually a founding father of the bourbon industry itself.
Okay.
And, it was post Civil War, and he actually started as a banker. Oh. Which kind of, holds near and dear to my heart because that's what I do on a daily about, as a banker. But he was one of the founding fathers of the bourbon, of the entire industry.
The industry, yeah.
Yeah, and his first distillery that he bought was the OFC distillery, which is Old Fire Cooper.
You down with Old Fire Cooper? You know me.
You down with OFC?
You know me.
Yeah, but that eventually did become Buffalo Trace.
Responsible for many yummy, delicious, fun, and expensive things.
But, he was, and I'm sure you're going to share some information about him and what some of his crowning achievements that he did have in his lifetime in the industry itself.
I don't know.
Nope, you got nothing?
I thought you had him.
Well, I got lots. But,
all right, yeah, go ahead. I just had the law itself. I was.
You got the law. Okay.
Yeah.
So starting as a banker, he actually helped the organizations on the financing side of the distilleries, and a few of them are still in operation today.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, so that he's had his hand in a lot of things over the years, in his lifetime, I should say.
Some of the very unique procedures and processes.
Yeah, he actually, when he was getting into this, he actually became personally acquainted with a number of whiskey distillers and distilleries, being as a banker.
Yeah.
So he, in 1869, he purchased the Leestown Distillery that he then christened the OFC.
Right. Okay.
And that was his first time into owning his own distillery, and he made an immediate mark because of some of the things that he brought to the industry itself.
So what was one of the unique thing that he did?
Well, the copper fermentation tanks. He brought that. It was one of the prominent fixtures with those copper fermentation tanks.
And the copper pipe, and that was
Correct.
that was kind of something that was like, the uniqueness that he brought in.
The column stills even.
Yep.
He was one of those.
Stills,
he did that as well. The modernization of the buildings, and a few of those buildings are still in operation today.
They are, and Bo was ranting about it. We're going to talk about it if you go back to episode 11, our conversation with Bo, and then Buffalo Trace does some great little videos and things, and so you can hear them. But so it's one of the building that if you're at the visitor center there, you look across, and it's still right there with the big OFC up on top of it.
Nice.
So it's right. It's all still there. A lot of it's still in use.
Yep. First of its kind and steam heating system for a sour mash technique. He was one of the pioneers in that regard as well.
Right.
But, he was actually a skilled politician at the same time, and it was actually instrumental in fighting for the higher standards for bourbon.
And that's where the law comes into play.
Correct.
Because it was like 1897, and prior to that, because the law was passed in 1897, it was the Wild West, literally.
Yeah.
And when it came to bourbon, it really was the Wild West in spirits. There were some guidelines as to what made bourbon, but when you walked in someplace and ordered up a bourbon, you had no idea what you're getting. Because a lot of times they would get a keg or a cask, right? And it would be like in a general store or at a bar, and there would just be this big keg, and they would open up the keg and fill a bottle. It's just a plain bottle.
Right.
And a lot of times what was happening was there was just some, clear distillates like vodka, and they would color it with things to make it. And there were actually books put out, How to Imitate Bourbon. And there were actually books available at the time about, and some of them for the coloration. I throw up in my mouth every time I hear it. Tobacco juice. So they take vodka with tobacco juice for the coloring, and then they add some flavorings to bring it closer to a bourbon taste. And there might be a splash or a dash of bourbon in there, like Bill Murray pouring the tab into his, just a little splash there, right? So, so it's so Colonel Taylor saw that as not really great for his business of making fine quality bourbon, putting all this effort into these procedures and things.
Right.
So he uses political wit and skill and was able to get the Bottled in Bond Act passed. And the thing about it, it was the first standard for food or beverage in the United States. So this was the first, let's get our bourbon straight first. We'll get to meats and vegetables later.
We have some priorities going on here.
Let's get our bourbon standardized and safe first before we start messing around with like meats and milk. And so the Food and Drug Administration wasn't really doing anything. This was the first thing to happen, which is fantastic. So they got this passed. I pulled a lot of information from the Distillery Trail and then at the other website, distilling.com. So they were able to get it passed because of just all the awful things that were being put into and sold as bourbon. So what the law requires is, and there's something that I learned today. I knew it had to be in one season. It has to be to be bottled in bond. It has to be bourbon. It has to meet the standards of bourbon.
Correct.
50% corn at least.
Yep.
And the virgin American oak charred barrels.
Correct.
But bottled in bond takes it another step further. that has to be distilled in the same distilling season. And I was like, the season, right? The season, there's 2 seasons every year. So it goes from January to June, July to December.
I did not know that.
Yeah, I didn't know that the season, when I thought season, my brain kicked in and went a year. Right. But the season is January to June. Yeah, the 6 months chunks. Okay. So those are the distilling seasons. So it has to come from all of it has to come from one season. It has to happen at a single distillery. It has to be in one. And that's part of the bottling and the labeling. The information is on there, and there's like a number for the distilling number, and it's on the bottle somewhere. And again, that's part of the honesty and the truth and the transparency. That's the word I was looking for. The transparency in what's going on. So a single distillery, aged for a minimum of 4 years.
Yes.
That's the trick. Bottled at 100 proof.
50%.
50% APV, if domestic. I don't know. And the label must identify the distillery who made it. And that's the thing. And the label must identify the bottling location if different than the distiller or distillery.
Ah, okay.
So, like your, MGB stuff, they sell their things. So if it's bottled someplace else, somebody buys their juice someplace and then bottles it, they have to, if it's going to be called bottled and bond, and it's going to be bonded like that.
Gotcha.
You got to be upfront and honest with it.
So, Colonel Taylor.
Yes.
Colonel E.H. Taylor, I should say, when he, purchased his first one in 1869.
Yeah.
Guess who purchased that first distillery from him in 1879? Guess who purchased that? George T. Stagg. And which eventually did become Buffalo Trace.
Right. There you go.
So George T. Stagg, he purchased the OFC distillery there in Leestown, and now it is Buffalo Trace.
So another interesting part of the story is the Colonel Taylor brand.
Yes.
It was around when Colonel Taylor was around.
Yes.
But then it was gone.
Okay.
And right around the time when Bo was getting done with college and coming to work, the guys at Buffalo Trace were thinking about resurrecting the brand. And Bo and his grandfather at the time, not his great-grandfather, his grandfather at the time, gave him a 100-year-old bottle.
Oh my goodness.
And they took it in. Bo took it in. They took it in.
Okay.
And they're like, here's what it looked like back in the day. And they said, well, our labeling's done. So they just replicated. They just replicated the label.
Yeah. Why change it? What is it?
So they did that. So that's where the label comes from. It's a replica of the actual ones from way back. And then they tried to follow the recipe as well. So bottled at 100 proof. It's got the fun tax stamp on it. I mean, you don't have to do tax stamps anymore. They have those through the 70s and 80s.
That was part of the original packaging.
So it's that, that's just fun. So there you go. So that, they're looking for the clarity, the purity, trying to create a standard. Right. It was the first standardized food or beverage, standard for the United States.
Wow.
I love it. I love it. So, well, let's try it. What do we know? What do you know about what's inside the bottle?
There's a lot of speculation on the mash bill because it's really unknown, but there's been a lot of speculation on the mash bill.
It's distilled in one spot.
Yes.
We ain't telling you what we distilled.
But the speculation.
We did it all here, but I'm not telling you what's in it.
According to the whiskyshelf.com, the composition is a mash number 1. Right. And that was kind of what Colonel E.H. Taylor is known for is mash number 1.
Right.
But it's speculated as far as the mash bill goes to be 75% corn, 10% rye, and 15% barley.
Whoa. Okay.
Right. So you're going to get a little bit of warmth on there, but you're really going to get that really unique feel from the barley itself.
So 18, we're 21. This is, 2.5 years. I've had this for 2.5 years.
All right.
Yeah, I only had that much because it was autographed, right? And it's like when I went to crack it, I was like, "Oh, should I?" There's Bo's autograph down there. I was like, "Well, it's a collector's item." I'm like, screw that. Let's drink it. Let's share this with friends. I opened it up, but I haven't hit it a lot because I save it for
Thanks, man.
Special
Appreciate you sharing
friends.
with me.
Oh, you don't get any.
Oh, okay, fair. I'll just tell you what you're going to taste. But here's the thing. It's the bottle and bond has to be aged, we said, 4 years.
4 years, yeah, for what's
but
going
it doesn't
in the bottle.
it doesn't have to be 4 years. It could be longer.
It could be more than.
Yes. It could be
Like
more than
5.
Yes.
It would be one better.
So the rumor around the aging of Colonel E.H. Taylor's small batch is that it's rumored to be around 7 years.
Yeah, because this is a small, and there's several variations.
Yes.
There's the straight rye. There's the barrel proof. There's
they've really expanded.
Blow your head off. The bottled and bond. All right, so it's so this is rumored. The small batch version that I have here.
It's rumored to be aged 7 years.
Rumored to be aged 7 years.
And the batch number 1, it's also used in other bourbons that Buffalo Trace, the Eagle Rare 10, Stag Junior. A lot of different variations, like you said, whether it be small batch, single barrel, barrel proof. It's all batch number 1. Right. So yeah. I'm excited because I have not had this before.
Yes.
And I'm kind of excited to and looking forward to diving into this. So you've had it before.
Yeah.
So you kind of know what to.
But I haven't had it in probably over a year and a half.
Oof. So
we've been drinking so many things. We've been having so many great adventures on the Man.
We really have. We got some great adventers coming up too.
Yes, there's some wonderful things on the horizon. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter to catch all those shenanigans as they happen.
Yes. So I'm nosing this for the first time, but those legs that are just sticking to the side of the Glencairn.
Sticky.
It's very
sticky.
The oils
sticky,
are definitely there.
Sticky.
So, all right. So I have to. I got to share something. I had licorice earlier today.
Okay.
I had some Twizzlers and strawberry Twizzlers.
Okay.
So immediately when I'm nosing this, I'm kind of getting a cherry-ish Twizzler feel from it.
Okay.
I don't know if it's because I had the Twizzlers earlier, or if licorice is a part of
I don't know
what I'm smelling.
I ate a bunch of Swedish fish. I did. I was jamming on the Swedish fish earlier.
Are you getting a little bit of licorice out of that?
No, I don't know what I'm getting. Maybe my honker isn't working.
It's
big enough.
It's not the vid. I hope not. I hope it's not the vid. But I'm a big fan of grapes.
Yeah.
I'm not a big fan of raisins, but I'm actually kind of getting some little bit of raisins out of this.
Yeah. Oh, you're getting raisins out of it?
Yeah. Just very, very small hint of raisins.
Okay.
Of course, the caramels there. That definitely, that's a staple.
Yeah.
But there's something else in there I'm trying to figure out. I can't figure if it's kind of the orange family, but more of not necessarily orange, but more apricotish maybe.
Okay.
Kind of getting that too.
So I'm getting it's a fruit. What I'm getting is a fruit, but and I had a couple of like Tangelos earlier today.
Yeah.
I had the Swedish fish and the Tangelos. So
I'm diving, man.
All right. It's enough of the nosing. Let's have a sip. So happy Bottle and Bond Day.
Cheers.
Cheers.
I almost took a drink without cheers in that. My bad. Ooh. All right. So that warmth, it kind of sat in there on sitting on the top of my tongue.
There's a spice. I'm getting a little pepper.
Yep.
Pepper spice.
A little cinnamon on that too.
I was gonna say a red spice. Okay, I'll go with cinnamon.
It's not a red pepper flake. It's more cinnamon in it.
Cinnamon.
Yes.
Oh.
Ooh. Okay. I'm just letting it linger a little bit. Now it's sitting on the back of my palate, on the back of my throat.
Mm-hmm.
Just its coating. It's like more of I almost want to say like a cream feel on the back of my throat.
The warmth is moving back. Yeah. It didn't just stop. So.
No, it's still moving.
Nice.
Getting a little vanilla. Of course, the vanilla is there, but it's more of a butter creamy type feel. That's really tasty, Jamie. Thank you for sharing that. Ooh. Don't mind if I have another.
Yeah, I'm getting like a creamsicle.
A creamsicle, like an orange creamsicle almost?
Orange creamsicle. Yep. Huh. That type of, not a super sweet one, but just a nice one. Yeah.
And I can see where the speculation comes from the 75% corn.
Right.
Because the corn's there, but it's not an overpowering corn. We've had other bourbons.
I think the age. I think that 4-year, minimum 4-year, quite possibly 7.
Right.
Speculative on 6 or 7. I think that age mellows it enough.
Very much so, because we've had younger bourbons and younger whiskeys or what have you, and it's very corn forward. This is not corn forward. It's it's there, you can taste it, but it's not the first thing that you feel and first thing that you taste. It happens later on as it sits on your palate.
Yeah,
that's really tasty. I'm gonna go in for some more. So, when was the last time you actually walked through the grocery store, Jamie, and picked up a star fruit and started munching on it?
Never.
You should get a star fruit sometime.
Yeah?
And just cut it up and munch on it, just to expand your palate into some other, fruits that you have never had before. Right? And they talk about that, to expand your palate, to just, because you can't go into the grocery store now and start, picking things up and smelling it. You get kicked out.
Yeah.
But you know what? Go purchase one thing.
She screamed last time I did that. That bagging girl is cute. That's messed up. I don't care who you are.
Security, check out aisle 19. Security, check out aisle 19.
I don't care who you are. That's messed up.
No, but that's what they say, just go and, find something that you've never had before, bring it home, cut it up, munch on it, taste it, and just kind of see what you get later on, as you are trying new experiences and new bourbons, or even your existing stash that you have here.
Yeah.
You might pick something else out, right? Because it's always changing.
Always learning, always growing. So, Matt, there we go. It's Raising a Glass, Colonel E.H. Taylor, the work he did.
Yes.
To get that standardized bottled and bond passed back in 1897 on March the 3rd. So, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you guys for hanging out, watching. Yeah. Matt, thanks for your
cheers
camaraderie.
Yeah, your friendship is amazing. Appreciate it.
Cheers.
Cheers.
And that is that. 23 minutes.
This is really
5 minutes of disclaimers at the top. There was one person watching, but nobody commented. Well, there were like 5 people in and out of the room, but all right. All right. Take it out. I guess I gotta stop the sound. Nope.
Cat, you're making my eyeballs water.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, not your fault.